The main problem, though, for the newspapers isn't the existence of the BBC, it's the fact, the Guardian website has a tremendous number of hits, but they can't make any money from the advertising.
That's right.
So maybe it's exactly the role of a public service broadcaster to provide a service that can't be profit-making. And it's a very difficult thing, surely, to present to the British public. You have this brilliant website that provides very reliable news and is the envy of the world, and the way forward, you suggest, is that it should be made worse in order to give its competitors a leg up.
No, that is a typical... That, if I may say so, is an absolutely... David is an Observer columnist, and that is worthy of a Guardian article. I did not say that the BBC website should be made worse. I said that the BBC should be aware. I can say to you, David, the BBC's not spending enough on its website. Do you think? I think it should spend £500 million a year on its website because I want it to be the best possible. And if you oppose me on that, you are saying I'm making the BBC website. All I'm saying is that the BBC should be aware that its website has a huge impact on its competitors.
You're not saying its website should be made worse, you're saying they should spend less on their website. Why do you not think that spending less on their website will make it worse?
Well, that's
it's the same thing.
A very left-wing argument that the only way you can make things better is to spend more money on it.
Well, look,
do you genuinely believe that?
I don't think it's the only way.
Do you genuinely believe that if you spend more money on something...
Do you genuinely believe if you half the amount you're spending on something, it's not going to make it worse? What do you think they're spending it on? Cake? That's a ridiculous assertion. I tell you, if you think that, I hope you never end up in the Treasury.
The argument goes on and on. I've had people complain about the BBC giving health tips on their website because I've had it from government departments saying we've got websites giving health tips. Why are the BBC giving health tips? The BBC could do... It's endless what the BBC could provide on the web, so I don't see anything wrong with saying that the BBC should review what it's doing on the web. I don't think
review is one thing, but halving its budget
did I say it should halve its budget?
Reducing its budget.
Did I say it should reduce its budget? I said the BBC should look at its impact on the website. You, as usual, have taken it and turned it into a kind of tabloid headline. Tory MP calls for BBC to be made worse. It's absolutely rubbish.
You think we were old sparring partners?
Absolutely rubbish. Well, I follow you on Twitter. I know what you're like.
Right. It's full of tabloid headlines, like Twitter.
Yes, they are. They're less than 140 characters.
Right. I have to say, I think any tabloid headline that's anywhere near 140 characters. I'd just like to follow up, actually, on... I'm going to go back to the boring scrutiny of the BBC thing, because you say that it should be that the trust should be replaced, or some of the roles of the trust should be replaced by something that is independent, that is not part of the BBC and therefore could be seen as biased in its favour, but you described it as an independent process. And my question is can we really believe in any kind of committee like that which would genuinely be independent? Because surely, suddenly you replace people who are supposed to act in the interests both of the public and of the institution of which they are part, with something that has no duty to act in the interest of the institution. And suddenly you create a massive incentive for rival media to get their people onto that committee. And my fear, call me a cynic, is that they will succeed, and therefore the BBC will essentially have its services reduced by people who have an incentive to do that because they are being influenced by the BBC's competitors, and that won't be in the public's interest.
Well, there's no answer to that. If you're a conspiracy theorist and a cynic, you're a conspiracy theorist and a cynic. There's no answer.
No, come on.
If the BBC...
I believe in the moon landings.
Do you?
I believe in the moon landings. I think sometimes politics isn't as honest as it might be,
There is no answer to that. I think the BBC should be independently regulated. It's not an agenda for the BBC to be regulated by its commercial competitors. If the BBC, for example, was regulated by Ofcom, would you regard that as not being an independent regulator? Would you regard that as being an organisation that was in hock to its commercial rivals?
Well, I suppose I think the BBC... I think in the way that the BBC is impartial, and the BBC provides services that I think the country want, and therefore I question what the flaw is in its current regulation. Particularly, as you say, they've decided to reduce their website in exactly the way you wanted. So, in a sense, that's a sign of the current system working, except in the issue of Six Music. But, they were probably trying to please you, and then you went off them in 2 days, so,
Yes.
perhaps now is the moment to... I mean, I think there are all sorts of other things. I'm sure lots of people have been terribly offended by all sorts of bits of BBC decision, or not offended enough is the other. I've got lots of sons, and quite often they sit around saying, you know, this isn't rude enough, you know.
BBC,
or go to bed, Mum. This is going to be rude.
BBC, this isn't the kind of filth I've led to expect.
Absolutely.